Okay everyone, how's it going? It's me here again, and this video is going to be over Firewatch. I've been meaning to do this one for a while, but I've just been busy doing other things. I just couldn't really get around to this. But Firewatch is a game made by Camp Santo. I don't know if that's correct or not, or if I pronounced that correctly. I butcher names all the time. This would not be a first. But this follows Henry, who kind of has come to the Yellowstone National Park to kind of get away from what's going on in his real life. His wife has severe dementia, so he can't really handle it, so he heads there. He ends up becoming pretty much a I don't know, police, I don't know, what you call that. He works at the Yellowstone National Park, and he's pretty much a forest fire person thing, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, but he's making sure no one does anything wrong there, and he's making sure fires don't happen, which fire does happen. Apparently he sucks at his job by what I see in this, but this game's actually fairly interesting. It's kind of the walking simulator type of thing. It's somewhat adventurous. The main thing about this game that is phenomenal is the voice acting, the dialogue between Henry and Delilah. Delilah is kind of another person you talk to. She's your form of communication, and you're using a walkie-talkie to talk to her, and you can see her tower. It's like far off, so you can't really go visit her. But it's just something, I don't know what it is. They really succeeded in this. I mean, this is the thing I remember most from this game. It's what I really enjoyed, and the reason I kept playing it was because of the whole narration between the two. And like, you don't have specific narration. I mean, there's some things you have to, like, it tells you to talk to her about, but it's like you'll have that, and you have like 4 other options you can talk to her with, and it's just neat. You'll come across like trees, like, hey, there's this tree here, and you have you talk with her about it, and it's just so great. They deserve an award for it. It's really good. I'm not saying that this is like the best game ever, but the narration is some of the best I have actually ever seen or heard, I guess you could necessarily say. I mean, that's really what it is. But anyways, it's some of the best. I really enjoyed it. Now, this game has its perks, this game has its flaws. I really enjoyed actually walking around the park, going around, like, talking about things. Like, I guess there's these one tree organism things, they all feed from the same source, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. And you're just going around talking to her about, like, oh, what's this gate here, what's this, and she's telling you all this, and I guess she's done this for like 3 or 4 years, and she's seen people come and go and stuff, and Henry's kind of someone new she's talking to. Now, there are some things about this game that I don't necessarily like. I feel like I wasn't really allowed to like go and explore the park, and from what I've seen, just actually playing the game through its storyline, you'll pretty much go everywhere through the park. There's a little cabin that you could see early in the game, but I didn't necessarily go all the way up there, so by the end of the game I actually saw it, and I don't know, there just wasn't much. I mean, it's just you and the animals and Delilah on the other end, really, and that's all there is. Now, this game does have an interesting kind of story plot to it, I guess you could say. Now, I will admit, right off the bat, this was something I was somewhat disappointed in, was the story, how it ends. And I like to say in this, how I've told other people, there's like 2 stories. There's the actual, like, game-ending story, and then there's, like, the actual story of something else going on in the game that kind of ends just very briefly before the actual ending of the game. And pretty much it's just, there's this guy who was here before you, and he brought his son, and something happened. She thought they left, but I guess it never actually happened. And his son ends up actually dying, because he doesn't like to rock climb. He ends up dying in a little rock climbing accident down to a cave. And the dad, I think his name was Ned, ends up actually... He never leaves. Delilah thinks he left, but he never did. But he stays there, and because pretty much everything that's happening in there is all kind of because of Ned, like the fire and everything that started, he's trying to move the attention away from him so that Delilah doesn't figure out that he never left the forest. And I was somewhat kind of disappointed I mean, like I said, I enjoyed the game, but what really kind of bummed me out was, like, I thought there was gonna be, like, maybe some, like, serial killer or something out there, some creature, because there's a part in the game, and I just got freaked out when I heard it, and, like, there's nothing in this game that really scared me, but this one part in the game, there's just this giant, like, noise. I was like, is that an elk? What is that? And it's just so very loud. And I was like, oh, that was creepy. And I talked to Delilah about it, and Delilah's like, maybe you shouldn't mention that. They're trying to figure out who you are, because they are monitoring your, like, talks between, walkie-talkie, and you end up finding out about that, like, sometime later in the game. You find, like, a little notepad with, like, your conversation with Delilah when the fire starts. And this game was somewhat comical, I will admit that. There was parts where I was kind of like, a little, ooh, what's going on? Like, when I went in the cave, I thought something was gonna happen. But overall, it's not really thriller-esque or anything. I mean, it has slight thriller to it, I guess you could say, but it's not an overall horror thriller game. I mean, it's an adventure game, that's what it is. It's single player. Now, something else that kind of bugged me in this game was, I want to say it's like day 3 between day 7. It's like the days just go by like real fast, like snap, snap, snap. It's like, oh, you're sitting there watching Henry eat a sandwich, talks to Delilah real quick, it's on to the next day. And so I was somewhat disappointed about that. I was like, oh, I was kind of hoping to go through each day, and each day didn't need to have something major. It's just like maybe like day 4 in there is like when I can go adventure around, maybe, you know, something like that. Now, one thing about this game that I kind of noticed, I like I said, I don't know if I'll go play it back again, but one thing I noticed was like the scene where you meet the 2 like teenage kids kind of in the lake. One thing I saw, someone threw their little boombox into the water. I didn't do that. I just kind of stayed there and just listened to him, and I was like, thought about if they had run off before I could throw the boombox. And I want to say somewhere I saw a trailer like someone threw either a beer bottle or a rock at them. So it seems like you can do certain things a certain way. I don't know how much it was, because I haven't seen other people's playthroughs of this game, I'll admit, but I've seen that beginning part to know that I did something different than them. And I don't know if there's an overall outcome. I've heard there isn't, which kind of sucks, because this is a game that I think could have actually done well with like maybe different endings and stuff happening different ways. At least that's just what I think. I think it could have really worked for that. But overall, I don't know if there's actual different stuff you can do differently throughout the game besides that one part. I was kind of hoping, because there's that giant fire you see in the trailer, and I thought that since I put out the fire that the kids had left, I thought I would prevent that fire, but no, it turns out that just happened. That fire's going to happen no matter what. So that was one thing I was kind of disappointed in. I ended up naming it the Flapjack Fire, I think is what I called it. It just seemed like, it seemed appropriate, the Flapjack Fire. I think that is a good, horrific, intimidating forest fire name, the Flapjack Fire. I think it's perfect. I'm great at these naming things. And then I remember the turtle I like picked up. You can find the turtle, and just so you know, when you leave the park at the end of the game, make sure to pick up your turtle. It's in a little box there by the bed. Make sure to get him. You don't want to leave Turt Reynolds behind, I think is what I called it. For Burt Reynolds. Nice little mustache, you know. Perfect. But the game was fairly interesting. I somewhat enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll go back and play it. Actually, I probably will go back and play it. I usually, no matter what the game is, find myself going back and playing it for a little bit. But overall, I mean, I would probably give it like a game like a... I don't like giving up grades because I'm not good at them, and I know people question them later. It's like, really? You give... Where's the C's at? I don't see any C's here for the games. I try to find enjoyment out of all games, so I'll give this game like a high C, somewhere in a low B, that type of thing. Mostly because of that ending. I think if the game had a better ending, it would have been a little bit better. But that ending's kind of a little bit of a letdown. I was kind of hoping, like, maybe you would go back and see your wife or something, if that. It's kind of neat because the pictures you take in the game, you get a little camera, you take pictures, you see the pictures at the end of the game, and it pretty much shows all the pictures you took in game, so I thought that was really neat. I think this is the only Steam game I've gotten all the achievements on. But overall, it was fun. I mean, 19's a little bit pricey, I think. I mean, I will say this, I think Journey and Firewatch are probably the best examples of these types of games. I think they do it the best. The park was just awful, let's be honest here. I really did not enjoy that game one bit. But Firewatch, maybe like 14, 13 maybe. I think that 14 is a good price for walking simulators. I don't think anything higher than that's, I think, is kind of asking a little bit too much unless the game's really good. I got Journey for like 11, and that's probably one of the that's the best $11 I've spent on a video game. I won't even lie. 19, I got it for $17.99 because that 10% discount went on pre-orders, and I hate doing pre-orders, and I don't know if I regret doing it on this one or not, but anyways, 14. If you ever see the game for 14, I'd say pick it up. 14 or less is where I'd say it's pretty good. But overall, that's my opinion on the game. Not too bad, not the best game ever. I somewhat enjoyed it. I think this is a good start for this company. Like I said, it had its really good peaks, and it wasn't a bad game. I think they'll take what was wrong from this game. I think they know what might have been wrong with this game. I'm pretty sure they're paying attention from what I've seen of the developers for their, I guess, replies to gamers. I think they'll learn from what they've done with this. I think they could perfectly make a game like this, except put aliens in it. I think they would. I think they could do it. That's what I want to see. A game like Firewatch, maybe out in like a park or something, or a camping area, and there's aliens involved. They need to do it. That would be great to see. But I've gone on a little bit too long enough. That's my review of the game, or me talking about it, because I don't review games. I just talk about them. I talk about what I liked, talk about what I didn't like. But that's what I have to say about this. Let me know if you liked it. If you did, if you didn't, just leave a reply. I know no one's going to leave a reply. But anyways, I will see you next time.